Okay, hello again. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Stafford Media Channel. And in today's show, we're going to learn how to do a project in Adobe Premiere. And I know we already did a walkthrough and learned kind of the basics, but in this episode, we're going to learn start to finish how to bring in your clips and then all the way to export and then everything in between. Okay, so let's dive in and get started. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is let me open a folder right here, and I'm going to say this. The most important thing about video editing in general is file management. Knowing where your clips are, knowing where all of your assets are, and your assets are basically everything you put into your video. So we're talking your footage, your stills, if you take any still pictures, any of your audio, all of that stuff. And it's so important to keep it all together. File management is super duper duper important. I remember I told you that in the last video, but I'll show you why it's so important today. So let's go ahead and open my video folder right here. And inside of there, look, I already have a basic shots. That's the assignment you're going to be doing this for, is the basic shots. And if you remember the basic shots, that's all just the shots that I instructed you to do. You know, wide shot, medium shot, close up, extra close up, and then over the shoulder shots, all those. And so you're going to put it inside of a folder. So how do you make this exactly? I made a second one, so let's go ahead and show you. This is just a sample one. And so what you'll do is you'll make a... Now, by the way, whenever we're back in school, I just have this on a flash drive, so you can just copy this over. But what you'll do is you'll actually go to New and then Folder. And you're going to call it whatever the title of the assignment is. So this one was called Basic Shots. I'll call it 3. And so you'll click inside of there. And then you'll make some new folders. So I go New Folder. And again, right click, New Folder, and New Folder. So there we go. And in this one, you're going to call it Assets. And in this one, you're going to call it Exports. And in this one, you're going to call it Projects, which is where you're going to keep your project files. Let's click inside of Assets. And inside of Assets, I'm going to make 3 more folders. And I'm going to call this one Footage. And in this one, I'm going to call it Audio, where I put like my songs and stuff. And in this one, I am going to call it Stills, where I put still pictures. Why is this important? It's important because of the fact that this is where you keep all your stuff. Just like I think I told you in the last video, but you know, for doing your math homework, you have a math folder, you keep all your math work in there, and in your English class, you have a math, partition your over binder or whatever. That's where you keep all your stuff. So I'm going to click on Basic Shots and look in here, and I've already imported some stuff in here. Let's check it out. I have Assets. I'm going to go click, and look, I already put some audio inside of there. I'll show you where you get audio later. By the way, if you want to drop back a folder, you just click to there. Now there's Assets, and there's Footage right there. So I have Contents, and it's off of this camera right here. So I actually used 2 cameras the same way that I'm using 2 cameras here. I downloaded the contents of this already, and so they are sitting right there. And then I also made a second folder, and again, I right-clicked, and I said iPhone. Now you're probably going to be clicking or shooting mostly with your iPhone or your Samsung or whatever your device is. So I made this already just for the purpose of time. I made it go a little bit quicker, and I already dropped some files in here that I shot on my handy dandy iPhone. But while I'm downloading, let me go ahead and show you how to download. So the easiest, hopefully simplest way to do this is to take a cord, same one you charge your phone with, and you will plug that in, and you'll notice it shows internal storage right there. And inside of here, it's saying, hey, this folder is empty. Now, this was actually take 3 of this video. And the reason why it's take 3 is because of the fact that I had problems getting my iPhone to actually talk to my computer. Now, see it's showing internal storage right there, and then I'll click here and it says this folder is empty. And I finally got to show, and then it wouldn't show, and then I'd copy one, and then it would crash, and it crashed multiple times. And so I was frustrated thinking, uh-oh, you guys are going to be really frustrated too. But then my wife came up with a solution. I was like, oh, that's genius. Yes, that's really cool. What are we going to do? I'm going to go ahead and close this one here. I'll leave this folder open right here. But rather than making my computer talk to my camera, because, by the way, if you have a cord and it works, great, use that. Use that. But here's another thing we can do. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and show you on my phone here, okay? And so I'm going to actually go on, I have an iPhone here. I'm going to go on here and I am going to show you. I already have a folder open and it's right here. It's my OneDrive. Here's my OneDrive right here. And if you remember, I did a lesson already on OneDrive. And so with OneDrive, I was able to actually show you how you can transfer files. And so it's really cool. On OneDrive, let me go ahead and look at all my folders here. And here's all my different things, and it says My Files there. So we're looking at my OneDrive right here. And in here, here's all different folders that I have for teaching and all that. So I'm scrolling down through, and I made a folder that says Video Upload. So if I click there, and I actually have some files on my phone that I shot, because I shot some with this camera right here, but then I also shot some on my camera phone here. And so let me show you. I can actually then go to Upload and Files, and it says, well, where are they at? And I say they're in my iPhoto library, and it says, well, show me where they are. So I went to Videos, and like for example, I'll just upload one of them, but there, I'll just upload that one right there, say done, and it currently is uploading it. So you see that it says uploading one item to Video Uploads. So it's going through, it's thinking, it's thinking, it's thinking. It's taking a little bit of time, and it will. This is where you need to be patient, because video files are really big. They're big, they're much larger than one photograph is a couple megabytes, sometimes a few megabytes. But in this, it can be really big, like hundreds of megabytes. And so it's much larger than a photo, because remember, every time you hit that button for recording video, it's shooting 30 pictures every second. And so it takes a long time to do all of that, okay? So for the purposes of time, I'm going to go ahead and click out of this. And then I don't want to share the link. So you'll notice it's right there now. So what I can now do, I'm going to go ahead and say, I'll close this here. And I will now open my OneDrive on here. And if you remember, let me close down here. I can go to the internet, or you have something called Office 365 right here. I'll click right here. It's thinking. And I will then click to my OneDrive, which is right there. And there should be a folder that says Video Uploads. Let me cruise down here. And looking for it right here. Video Uploads, there it is right there. Click. And now I can just have this open right here. And let me click down to this folder right here and say File Explorer. And so when I click right there, I can then click to my video folder, and I can click to basic shots. Sorry, I have 2 or 3 basic shots there, but the first one was the one that I actually want to use. So I go to Assets, and I go to Footage, and I go to my iPhone folder, and then I can simply transferring from one to the other. So let's see, I have some of these already in there because I already practiced this demo. Let's see, which one don't I have? 1793 I don't have, and I download. Sorry, it was a download. So I am downloading it right now. So download, and now it should be sitting in my download folder on my computer. And so if I go to my download folder, let me open this here, in my download folder, it should be sitting in there. So then I would take that and copy that over, and that's the way you can move from one computer to another. Oh, it says it's asking me here, what do you want to do? So if I save, I can say save as, and I can tell it to actually go into then the video folder, and basic shots, and assets, and footage, and iPhone, and then save it, and there we go. So it is now downloading into that folder. Okay. So that is how you're going to have to move your files in. And it's a little tricky, I know. We'll get used to it. See there, it's coming in there slowly. Okay, while that's coming in there, I am going to go ahead and I'm going to start Adobe Premiere. So I click there, and it's starting it up right now. So remember, we did our walkthrough in Premiere. Now we're actually going to start an actual project. So that's opening right now. And while that's opening, I'll say that, remember, once you have your files in your folder, you're going to want to make sure in the folder where you're editing from, do not move them. Don't move them at all, because if you move them, then all of a sudden you're not going to be able to find them anymore. And Premiere isn't going to be able to find them. So leave them put, follow that procedure that I told you, leave them put, and they'll be fine. Okay, so it's asking me, what do you want to do? I'm going to say, let's make a new project. So a new project, I'm going to say basic shots, because that's the name of the assignment, basic shots. And this little window right here is asking me, where do you want to put them? So I'm going to say browse, and I'm going to put them in my video folder, and I'm going to go to basic shots, and I'm going to click on project, single click, and I'm going to select that folder right there. So now it's going in my basic video shots in the project folder. And you're going to do this every single time when you start a new project. Every time you have a new assignment, you're going to be doing this, okay? All the rest of this stuff, just leave it alone for right now. Now, there's a lot of different windows you could click on and pull down stuff. Just leave it alone, because we'll get to it in a minute. Click OK. So now it's actually thinking. It's coming up here. Now we have this window right here. Remember, we have these 4 panes here. We have a source pane that's going to that's where you're going to mark your clips. You have a project folder right here, along with some other windows hiding behind it. You have the program folder that is going to show you what is in your timeline. And your timeline is where you're actually putting your finished video together. So let's go ahead and import. Remember, I said there's multiple ways to do it, but one of the easiest ways is just double click right inside your project folder, and it says, well, where are they all at? I'm going to say, well, they're in the video folder. You'll notice it was going to the last folder, and that was the last assignment we did, and it was in that varsity football folder. So we're actually going to click on this basic shots. We're going to go to assets. I'm going to go to footage, and I'm going to bring both these folders in and click OK. And I'm going to say, go ahead and open that. So now it wants me to go even further in and say, get all those. So right now it's bringing in all those folders. All right, it's coming in right now. Give me a little warning right there. All right, brought in some files, and let me see if I can now bring in some more stuff. I'll probably edit some of this out right here. All right, now you'll notice it did give me a file import failure, by the way. And the reason why is because anytime you hit that record button on the video camera, it not only records your video clip, but it records a lot of other information that you don't need to edit. Your camera needs to put it all together, but you don't actually need to edit it. And so Premiere is basically saying, I don't know what to do with this. So just ignore, and that's fine, because you'll notice when we're looking on my screen here, I can actually see then all this footage right here. Here it all is, and you remember the basic shots. There's a lot of different things you can do, but you're going to click through these. And if I double click right there, you'll notice here's the shot right here. And click right here. There we go. You can actually look here and click through it. And
being filmed.
Hey, there we go.
Also, that's weird, but it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's my daughter talking in the background. Let me see if I can, let me turn off my sound here. All right, so I can scrub through this and find all this here. What we actually want to do now is, in our timeline here, we want to put together our first sequence. So I'm actually going to go, and what is a sequence, by the way? A sequence is just a series of clips you're going to put together. So I'm actually going to go to File, New, Sequence. How you're going to be putting your clips together. Now, when you first look at this window right here, you're going, oh my God, look at all these selections. I don't even know what any of this means. Fine, we'll get to that. But you're going to click to where it says Digital SLR, Digital SLR, and then it says DSLR. That's digital single lens reflex. It's kind of the cameras we use a lot in class, okay? And then you want the one that says DSLR, 1080p, 30 frames a second. We're going to click OK. 1080p is high def television. It used to be like the best of the best. Now there's 4K and 5K and soon to be 8K, which is just, it basically just means more pixels. And what are pixels? Pixels are tiny little dots on the screen. And so 1080p used to be the standard. It's not anymore, but the cool thing about it is that we partner with CMAC. I mentioned CMAC before, I believe, but CMAC stands for Community Media Access Collaborative. And they're our media partner, and they basically broadcast all of the things that we create. So that's kind of a neat thing, okay? So they only go to high def and they don't go to 4K. So we will, all of our content is in high def, okay, which is 1080p. So it just made a sequence right here. See this little icon right here? It sort of looks like this right here. What you're going to do in your basic shots, and I'm not going to put the entire thing together, but I'm going to kind of go, let's see, as I look through these clips, you can kind of see, hey, look, I have that's my full shot right there. Just a really wide shot.
Okay, we're rolling here.
Now you never want to, let's see, let me turn off I didn't turn that off. Click, I'm just going to mute this for now. So you never want to use everything that you shoot, because lots of times the stuff that you shoot, you're going to have things where people look away or they blink or whatever. So you're just going to tell Premiere, I want this part and to here. And you'll notice I can actually scrub through really fast like that right here. So let's check it out really fast and see. Let's see. You want people to be able to see the clip. So you remember what the keys are? I and O. So if I don't mark the beginning, it's already an I, and so if I just click O, and now notice it's now highlighted that part right here. If I simply click and drag now, I can do that. But if you remember, there's people talking in here. There's my wife and daughter talking there. So I don't really want them talking in here. Most of the time you will want them talking, but for this first assignment, we won't mess with that. We'll add in some audio, some music later. And so what I will do is I'm simply going to click that button right there and just drag the video. You'll see how tiny it looks, but you're not going to worry about that. Now notice how it gives you this choice here. If the clip does not match the sequence settings, it's telling me this clip is a higher resolution because the camera was set higher. But you remember we made a new sequence that was the same resolutions we want. So in this case, I'm going to say keep existing settings. Sometimes you'll be able to say change the sequence settings, and Premiere will automatically set it. So I'm going to basically say do that. You'll see how this looks like a little tiny sliver right here. You can't even see what's going on. But if you zoom way in on it, there's a clip right there, and it's telling me it's almost like it's about 4 seconds long. It's telling me it's 3 seconds and 21 frames. There's 29.97. We call it 30. There's 30 frames in a second. So this is saying it's about 3 2/3 seconds. And if I play it, hit the space bar, it'll play. There it is right there. And if you think, oh, that's a little too long, I can actually take it and trim it in. I could pull it out, make it longer. I could pull it in and make it shorter. Okay? Notice how it snapped right to that thing? I have this thing called snapping on. That's what that little magnet is right there. It's snapping right to there. So there's my wide shot. So if let me click through here and see what else I have in here. And I didn't bring everything in that I shot. And again, I didn't want you guys to shoot everything, but here's like that's kind of that's my tilt shot. They don't have to be in order, but I am going to definitely click this. This is called a 2 shot, but it's also like a medium shot. Let's see. And I'm going to make sure nobody's in mid blink right there. And so we'll go right there. That's my in point. And again, you can hit the space bar. There they are. I turned the audio off so you can hear me talking and not them talking. That's probably good right there. You can also click through here very fast. I'll show you some other ways of doing it later, but I'm just going to click that right there. Boom. I went ahead and dropped it in there. And let's see, that's kind of my medium shot. Let's see if I have a close-up in here. Again, I didn't shoot everything because I didn't want to spend like forever doing that. Yeah, here we go with the close-up shot. There's my lovely wife right there. And I marked the in point. And I can scrub through here. And is it distracting where she puts her hand in front of her face? Let's see. That's pretty good right there. I'll go with that right there. Remember, I and O, and then I simply click and drag. Whoops, you'll notice how it was putting in the audio too. See how this says V1 and this says A1. A1 is your audio. So remember what I said, I don't want the audio in this particular thing, so I can actually go here. Remember this one, undo. So it will undo that, and I'm gonna grab this instead, and this says drag video only. So there it is, boom. So now I can really start putting that together. And then now here's an extra close-up. So you're gonna take a list literally and shoot all these different shots that I showed you in that basic shots, because these are the shots that every movie that's ever been made uses those basic shots. So don't just shoot it one time and forget about it. Do it like forever. Do it like for all through this year, and then as you shoot videos for the rest of your life, remember all those basic shots, the wide shot, medium shot, close-up, bird's eye, worm's eye, and just remember to put movement in a lot of your shots. And so that's the reason why I give you that assignment, so you can understand that that's how you basically put all of that together, put any really movie or video together. So I clicked I and O. All right there, click the O, and I just want that only. Now notice how I accidentally did this. See how if I don't put it there, see when I put it there, there's a little triangle right next to my mouse. If I put it here, it's actually going to overwrite part of the preceding clip. So you have to be careful where you put it. If you want to overwrite it, sure, you can do that. But if you want to get this entire clip, then you need to make sure that you drop it in. It's going to snap it in where that little triangle goes. Make sure that it snaps it all the way to there. Okay, otherwise you're going to be overwriting that previous clip. All right, so there's a close-up. Let's grab another clip or two. I know I put in like an over-the-shoulder shot. Oh wait, here's a cut-in shot right here of my daughter on her phone. There she goes. All right, so that's a cut-in shot. What's that for? If you're doing movies and people are talking, and then maybe somebody is, working on a computer, or they're working on their phone or whatever. That's what that shot's for. I'm gonna grab the clip only of it. Here's an over-the-shoulder shot, like if they're actually working. Yeah, my daughter's making a funny face at me, but how about if we just go with, let's see, we'll go right, maybe right there. Mark the end point, and they're kind of laughing and stuff. Mark the out point. I grab this here. You can see that once I get rolling, I can kind of start going a little bit faster. Let's get another over-the-shoulder shot. What are over-the-shoulder shots used for? Anytime you have dialogue in movies. Watch a movie tonight, and you can sit there and see when they have dialogue, it shows two people interacting. So it shows a shot looking over somebody's shoulder, and that frames the viewer, and so then you're looking into the other person's face as they're talking. Most of the time they're not looking right in the camera. But let's see if I have that other shot there. Make sure you try and get all your shots whenever you do it. I probably didn't download that other shot, and that's okay. Let me just grab a couple more here. Let's see. This was like a, let's see there. Oops, I'll get this one here. And that was like a bird's eye shot. Mark the end point of that. Click and drag. But I probably wouldn't want to end with that shot there. Remember this one thing. Watch this other thing here. If, say for example, I was going to put it here. Let me go ahead and put that one there. I wouldn't want to end with that. But if I put that there, hey, that goes into there. If I take this and I put it up onto that's in the V1 line. If I put it in the V2 line, anything on the V2 line is going to, in a sense, overwrite or not show through. So when I play this, you'll notice how that other clip is still underneath there. However, this is on top of it. So it's like, yeah, you can't see my hand, this hand underneath where my right hand is. So that's doing the same thing. There's times whenever you do want to put clips up there. That's the reason why it's there. But in this case, no. You can easily click things and move them around. Like I probably wouldn't want to, put that the foot shot there. And this is just an easy way to kind of move stuff around. And I'm going to take this and click it and drag it. You'll also notice one thing whenever I drop that in there. See that little gap that's right there? You got to be careful on those. So I'm going to zoom way in. And I can see that, wow, when I dropped it in there, I wasn't very careful, was I? Can really zoom into that, and in there I can just right click and say ripple delete, and it'll actually close that gap for me. Okay, So now let's go ahead and play this here. If you hit the home key, if you have a home key on your keyboard, you hit the home key, it will actually go all the way to here. And if you, here's a neat trick. If you click on, notice how I can only have one window active at one time. When I click on each window, see how it highlights it in blue? So it's going to highlight that in blue. If you roll your mouse over it, it will make, roll your mouse over it, and then you hit the tilde key. It's a little key that's right above the, right below the escape key. It will make that full size, and then I can hit play. And so that's my video. And there it is, we're watching it here. Notice it glitched a little bit. That's just my computer trying to keep up. So they're having a little conversation out on the front porch, and I don't think I got the other perspective of the over shoulder shot. So hit the tilde key again and it will go back to there. So let me show you a couple of other things here really fast. Like let's say if you wanted to, like right at the end, you kind of, it's very common, last scene of a movie has a transition in it. So I'm gonna actually click on this little arrow right there and click on effects. And in here I have video transitions, and there's a lot of different ones you can use. Some of them are good and some of them are cheesy. Some of them are really cheesy, so be careful with it. There's a dissolve right there, and if I do the dip to black, I can click it and drag it and drop it right there at that end. Let me zoom in on it so you can see it. See how it faded to black? That's kind of nice. Other times you will, like, we'll spend a little more time talking about transitions, and we'll show you how you can make some ones that are way cooler than what we have here. One of the most common ones is a cross dissolve. And like, say for example, if we wanted to show like a little change from that scene to that scene, you can actually do a cross dissolve in it. Cross dissolves kind of signify to your viewer a period of time has elapsed. So now as you watch me play this, you'll see how it faded from one clip to the other. Let me show you that one more time, but we'll watch it full screen here. See how it fades from one to the other. And that's kind of a nice effect, and there's a lot of other ones. We won't spend too much time today talking about your video transitions, but they're all there, and they're really cool. There's a lot of different things in here that we'll get to later, because that's where we really start digging deeper into the program. Let me show you what else you need to do for this first assignment. I'm going to show you how you can now add some music. Music, I don't know if you realize it or not, but music is really one of the keys to making a movie so good. You may not even think about the music they put on movies so often, because if it's done well, you hardly notice it. It's like musical wallpaper, if you will. It's just there. It just adds to the environment and the feeling and the drama and the sadness and all these other things that they want to evoke in movies whenever they make movies. And so audio is an important part of that. So we're actually going to go to the project folder. Let's go ahead and add some. I told you that I put some in already. So if I click down here, you'll notice there's no place for me to click. I told you that you can double click and it'll let you add stuff. If you click here, you probably can find a little room to do it. That's just different ways of thinking about the same things. Like if you want to look at everything as a list, but oh, I still don't have room to click. Hey, how do you bring in stuff then? You can actually just go to File, Import. And there it is right there. File, Import, which is Control I. It's saying, well, where is it at? I'm going to say it's in the Assets folder. I could also click right there. It's in the Assets folder, and it's in Audio. And there it is right there. Now, how did this get here? Obviously, I didn't want to spend the whole lecture watching how to import, but I brought it in off of my drive. I'm going to reach over here and get my drive. This floats around our class all the time, and everybody uses it because I have like multiple folders full of music that I downloaded. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh, I want to put on my favorite Jay-Z song or whatever your favorite music is. And while that would be great, Jay-Z's not going to be happy about that because of the fact that he wrote that and he wants to get paid. So unless you have the money to pay Jay-Z to use his music in your videos, you can't do that. In addition, we can't upload any of it to YouTube because the YouTube, as soon as you do it, it's going to kick it off and say, you can't put that on there. It's copyrighted. So we have to use royalty-free music only, and that's super important, royalty-free music only. And you can only use music that I provide. Now, last year, some kid said, "Oh, please, can we use this music? It's royalty free. I promise." And they showed me it was royalty free, and then I listened to it, and it had something bad on it, and so no, you can only use music that I provide. And so what I will do is I will put a folder on my OneDrive, and I'll share it with all you guys so you can download it. I downloaded this from CMAC. They let us have access to some music, and so I downloaded some royalty-free music. Okay, so that's where I got this. So I'm going to say, let's go ahead and use this one. And I spent just a little bit of time putting it all together and brought this in here. If you double-click it, you can put it here. I'm going to turn my music back on here. And there we go. Now you can hear it. And so if you click here, there you go. Something that works for what they were doing. So now all I have to do is click it and I drag it. Now it's clearly too long for the video we created here. So I can take it and I can trim it down. And you'll notice how right when I got to the end of it, it created that little triangle for me. I'll show you that again. See how it gives me that triangle, that's snapping again, and it snapped right to the end. So now whenever we watch this, notice the difference. I'm going to make that full screen. Okay, you get the idea. Now, my computer, again, is glitching. It's kind of slow, and yours will do that too as you start to get deeper into this. I'm not going to save this. I'm going to do Control S to save it. Okay, what else do you need to add to your video project? What do you need to add to your video project? You need to add titles. You need to add titles. And so what am I going to do? I'm going to zoom into these. And I am going to say, okay. I'm going to say, what's the name of this one? This one is, I simply click with the T tool. And it's going to think here for a minute. And I can say, you'll notice it brought up this little graphic thing right here. If you click up to here where graphics is, I'm going to save this because it might make my machine unhappy. I'm going to click here where it says graphics. And on graphics, it lets you do some font. So I'm actually going to, again, click in here, and I'm going to say long shot. And I can actually go inside of here, and I do Control A to select all, and I can actually change the font here. You could just stick with the default for right now, but later on you're going to want to be able to change your fonts and use some other things. I will specify so we have a certain look in our class, so everybody will have the same titling. I think it'll look pretty good. Alright, maybe I want something that looks kind of basic like that. You can change the size in here. My computer's going to cooperate with me here. You can change the, oops, that's the wrong tab right there. I meant right there. I can move it around, doesn't have to be there. You can move it around. You don't want it to be like there because you'll cut it off people's screens. In fact, we'll talk later about what we call TV safe areas, and I can put an overlay on top of here so that way you're sure that it's not going to get cut off in somebody's TV screen. So I'll put it right there. And so there's that one. And then I'll simply trim it down, and now I have titles on it. Alright, that would be like a medium shot. You can actually, let me go ahead and type that there. Medium. They also call that a two shot. There's two people in it from approximately the waist up. Alright, medium shot. And I'll make that so it's a little, it doesn't have to go for the whole thing. You see my computer kind of getting a little glitchy. So it's going to be close up. And I'll pull that down one more time. You can also put transitions in on these. So watch the difference. Let me go ahead and put that right there. Drag it back. I'm going to again save this so my computer doesn't crash. So I would do that all the way through all of them. Let me put some transitions in on this too. I'm going to go back to Effects, and I'm going to say Video Transitions. And I'm going to say, yeah, go ahead and put a cross dissolve in on each side of that. But you probably don't want to be quite that long. You just want to cross dissolve right at the beginning and at the end. And again. And again. Notice I'm doing clicking and dragging. There's quicker ways to edit, which we'll get to later. I want to keep it simple right now for clicking and dragging, but there's actually better ways to do it. And we'll learn some of those in subsequent assignments, how to edit with just your keyboard. So it'll let you go a little faster. So I just drug these in. And there we go. And my mouse isn't cooperating, but here we go. And there we go. Finally, I was able to make that a little smaller. I'm going to roll back. I'm going to save it again so my computer doesn't crash. Very nice. Again, I'm going to save that. I'm going to go back here at the beginning. I want you to also put a title in at the beginning. So what am I going to do? Let me zoom in and I'm going to show you. This is a cool thing here. I want to start with the black slide because I want everybody's video to have a title at the beginning. Now we won't do this when we're running it on the air for whenever we're doing our news broadcast, you know, like we do. We have TMH. Hopefully a lot of you guys saw TMH last year in your classes, and so you won't actually do this for that, but otherwise you have to edit that out because you don't want a title slide on every time you do a segment, like if you're doing a segment on football or on how COVID affects you know, all of us at school here. You wouldn't want to do one there. But in this case, just so I get to know you guys at the beginning of the year, I want you to put one in. So what you can actually do is there's a really cool tool. I'm going to click back to my editing tool here. Notice I was in the graphics. That's how you change your text, your font, and your size and all of that stuff. So I'll click back to my editing tab right now. And there's a tool that's right here, and it's called Track Select Forward. And what I'll do is I'll click here, and I'll click there. I'm going to push that back just a little bit. And I'm going to actually make another slide right now. And so I'm going to let me click off here. I'll click in there. And I'm going to say Mr. Stafford's basic shots. And so you'll notice if I don't have it over a clip, let me click back to my graphics tab now. I'm going to save it again. Every time you go from one of these tabs to the other, make sure you save it and click back to the graphics tab. And I got an extra S. I'm going to undo that. And notice how I got an extra S right there. I'm going to delete that out. And you'll see how it's kind of all off-centered, isn't it? So if I click Control A, it selects all, and I can click right down here. See where my mouse is? And I can center it, and you go, hey, that's not centered at all. Well, it's centered within itself, the box that's around it. But if you click here, and you click here, now these two right here, align and transform, that will center it right in the middle of your screen. Okay? You'll see how it's way too long now. So I can go back to my editing tab. Again, I'm going to save it again. Save your projects every 5 minutes. Just get in the habit of that. But you'll notice I'm saving it every couple of minutes because my computer has a tendency to crash a lot. I don't want it going all the way over the top. Let's go ahead and play that, and you'll see what happens if I do. It's playing. Hey, wait a minute. Look at that. You can't see what's underneath here, so I need to actually take it and trim it down a little bit. So I'll actually trim it to where it fits just right there. And so, now here we go. Now it's kind of an abrupt start, so I'm actually going to go to Effects, and I'll put a cross dissolve in at the beginning of it. And make it smaller so I can change that. And then I'll go ahead and put I want to dip all the way to black at the end, so I'll go ahead and put a dip to black right there. And let me zoom in, let me move my cursor out of the way, and I'll make that shorter. And here we go. And you see how it abruptly jumped into there. You can also put a cross dissolve in at the beginning of that clip. So that way it just kind of nicely comes in. Let's go ahead and click here, and I'll click the tilde key. Sorry, that's my phone going off there. Oops, I accidentally clicked on the wrong spot here. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to delete that. Oops, technical difficulty there. There we go. Let me see if I can just make that thing. It thinks I want to type there, so I'm having a hard time making that thing go away. Sometimes it glitches a little bit, and it's currently glitching. So let me try and do this here. There we go. Let me go ahead and just trying to do this right here. Click and tilde key. Now you heard a couple of glitches there. I hit the pause key again. You heard a couple of glitches there. You see how right here when we look at my timeline here, see how this is all yellow? Yellow means that it hasn't been processed. It hasn't been rendered yet. Will it play like this in real time if I put this out on the web? No, you'll see it whenever I put it on the web, and it won't play like this. It's just having a hard time. It's basically saying my computer doesn't have enough RAM, which is its ability to think, and its video card isn't very good. The computers I have at school are wonderful, and they wouldn't have this problem with this at all. Now, if you were doing a super complex program, a video program, it might have some problems. But the faster your computer and the better your graphics card, the easier it is for it to actually do this. So you'll notice how it's giving us some problems here. I'm going to get rid of that. I think I accidentally, yeah, that's what I did. I accidentally made an extra thing right there. But you see how, if I don't try and make it that big, it should be a little better. Go ahead and looking at this. Good. Now you'll notice how I don't have all of my clips in there yet. You will. You have to have all of those clips that I listed in that basic shots, and I'll show you in the PowerPoint again whenever we go back and we're zooming. I'll show you in the PowerPoint exactly how many clips there are, but there's like 15 plus clips that are in there, and I want all of those in your video. So write those down, make a list, and when you go out shooting, it's kind of like a script. And see, like I made a basic little script for what I'm doing for you today. We're going to talk about storyboarding whenever we're doing your next assignment, and you're going to storyboard and script everything you shoot after this from here on out. If you just want to do a basic one right now, you could even do it on your phone really quick. Here, I need to do wide shot, medium shot, close up, extra close up, all those things. And then you make sure you go out and you get those shots, okay? So, last thing we need to do is to finish this project up. You scrub through here, there it all is, there they are. I did a dip to black. Good. And your project shouldn't be too much more than, like a minute or two long, okay? So, we are going to now go to, I'm going to save it. And now I am going to, I think my thing's about ready to die here. I'm going to export media. And I'm going to click right there, and I'm going to call this Basic Shots. Actually, I'm going to call it Mr. Stafford's Basic Shots, so you have your name on it. So when you turn it in, I'll show you how to turn it in later too. Basic Shots. And it's going to go into videos. It's going to go into Basic Shots. Exports, save. And I'm going to now say, go ahead and export it. You want it to be H.264, and it's now exporting. So I'm going to go ahead and let this export here, and then you're going to upload it. I'm going to show you, I'm going to copy a link for you, and I'm going to show you exactly where you're going to put this. Okay, you're going to upload it onto my OneDrive. We're going to give a shared folder so everybody can turn this in, and then we're going to watch the whole thing. But I'll go over that with you at that time. We don't have to sit here and watch this whole thing go, but basically that's what we do. You're going to export this out. You'll see it in your export folder, and there we go. And I will be here to help you through this whole fun process, all right? Awesome.